Welcome back to Central Valley Today. A good teacher will say learning is effective when it's fun and interesting. And the same can be said for therapy. So we're here on location at Metamorphosis with Courtney Gebhart, CEO and founder of Metamorphosis Therapy Group. So thanks for inviting me out here. You were showing me a tour. We were talking about, my mom was a speech pathologist, so I have some sort of experience with it. And I am this place is great. I think your gym over there, the rooms that you have set up, it's a very inviting place for kids to come get speech therapy or occupational therapy. So tell me about Metamorphosis Therapy Group. What do you guys do here?
Yeah, so we provide therapy for children, so primarily pediatric, kids that are about 1 year old all the way up to 18. Sometimes we will also see adults. We focus on speech and language therapy as well as occupational therapy. That addresses kids' ability to say words a certain way correctly, and also their language development, kids that are not talking or kids that are working on daily living skills, toileting, teeth brushing, dressing themselves, eating, feeding, all of those things.
These are the functional therapies, how we function in life, not necessarily our psychological therapy. These are getting down tasks that we do every day, because sometimes we're all not dealt the same hand, and while you might be really good at one thing, you might not be really good in developing in another area, so you need a little bit of help. What is the philosophy behind the therapies that you provide here? How do you approach certain therapies for certain cases?
Yeah, so all therapy should be fun. For therapy to be effective, it needs to be fun. We really focus on relationships with our clients. We want our families to feel valued with our services and what we're providing for them. So we really focus on that fun factor because kids learn better that way.
Right.
And kids want to come to therapy. They realize very quickly that this is not a typical doctor's visit, a typical doctor's office. It's fun and engaging, and a lot of times they don't want to leave, which means that we have done our job well.
You're doing something right. If the learning's happening and kids don't know what's happening, then you're doing something effective. And I would imagine that it's going to be much more ingrained in them and they'll remember it a little bit more. So that sort of stems from your experience in education. So you worked in education for Clovis. So tell me how that experience sort of helped you start this group and what your relationship is now with Central Valley Schools.
Yes, so I was a school-based speech language pathologist for about 15 years before venturing out and starting the private practice. And we still work with Valley Schools, supplying our therapists when there's a case shortage for therapists, or if they need extra coverage, a maternity leave. So we're still very much involved with our Valley Schools, and we can help them out because we have extensive knowledge of that IEP process, and we can provide that effective therapy for those kiddos that are needing it if the school is short.
Well, what I thought was really interesting that we talked about was your IEPs that you get out of school are very educational based. Those are based on how those kids will get academic gains. But your therapy here is on function. And why do you think the function part of it is so important?
Yes, so it's a completely different model when we're comparing the educational model for speech or occupational therapy, because that model is really looking at what that child needs to develop gains in their education plan. But with a medical model, which is what our company does, we're looking at that whole person approach. So there might not be a deficit that maybe as much as what a school district might address, which is the bottom 7th percentile of kids, but there's a whole range of characteristics that might still need to be covered, or maybe they only have one sound error that's really affecting their ability to communicate outside of the school district or outside of those spelling tests, but we can fix those kids with their articulation differences very quickly. Sometimes too, younger children, they don't have as far of a gap with their deficits. They might be just slightly behind. We help those kids as well when they may not qualify for services with a school district.
Yes, and so if a school is telling you, oh, your kid is not really in that bottom 7%, they don't necessarily require extra attention or an IEP, maybe this is the place for them to come because they can get that extra attention and they can be that much better at articulating those sounds that they're having a hard time with. So a medical model is what you guys do here, and so that's the approach to payment, right?
Yes.
Because I find that very interesting. So when people come here, they want to become patients, they want to become clients. How do you work through payment?
Yes, so we accept almost all major insurance plans.
So great.
So with that ability to accept insurance, the therapy can cost as little as a copay.
Yeah.
And we find that most of our insurances do cover speech therapy. If it is exempt, it's exempt across the board, meaning that if we can't get you covered, nobody else can either.
Yes.
It's just that specific plan. Some of our families have had great success with going to their employer and advocating for themselves on their behalf of saying, hey, I need speech therapy, occupational therapy covered within our plan. What can we do to get it covered? But that ability to accept insurance makes our therapy much more affordable for our families.
Yes, because it really is a functional need to function in life, to be able to communicate and be able to do the things that get you through the day. So if we've got parents out there, they want to bring their kids here, they want to become clients of Metamorphosis, how do they do that?
Yeah, so you can talk to your pediatrician and they can send over a referral. That's as easy as a fax. They can call our office or check our website, and we would love to help them in that process.
Okay, perfect. Courtney, thank you so much for inviting me out here. I'll have to tell my mom, a speech pathologist for 35 years. She could have started a business just like Courtney. Metamorphosis will put all the information online, how you can get in contact. We'll put it on our website as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.